Hey guys, it is the end of January 2026, and by now the motivation is probably dwindled of the New Year's resolutions and the goals and the health and the fitness and all the things that you should do, right? And that you're supposed to do. And that is
Mhm.
why we're here today to do it a little bit more back and master your motivation today because
Okay.
motivation in itself, it has a really short shelf life, which is why there's such thing as National Quitters Day in January because there's a right way to have motivation and there's a wrong way. So
hmm
let's
hmm
talk about that.
Yeah. Well, if you haven't ever seen us before, you just joined the group or you're catching this, my name is Jessica Midkiff and this is Tracy Hill. And we are doctors of physical therapy in our training and have seen thousands and thousands of clients over the years. We also got a certification in neurocoaching, which is a fancy term for understanding how our brains work to direct our behavior. And so we feel like we know a little bit about motivation, the brain science behind it, but also just with all of the years of experience that we've had working with clients, motivation is one of those things that is a stumbling
Mm,
block or a hurdle for a lot of folks. And so that's why we're talking about it, not just because it's a trendy term and motivation and
yeah.
it's January and all the things. Yeah. So.
But because most of you, if you're watching this, you probably want to you think you want to get motivated and maybe you do have some health goals. You want to feel better. I think at the end of the day, everyone wants to feel good. Nobody likes to be sick or injured and feeling crappy. And this has been a big thing that we've seen in our clients over what, 3, 4 decades of seeing people is this. I know that this exercise program that you gave me, I know it would help me. I know I'd probably feel better, but I just XYZ. I didn't do it for whatever reason. I was tired. I
Mhm.
was busy. And I had all the good intentions. And I think this is where there's a big disconnect between, showing or telling you what to do, giving you all the information. You could go on
Mhm.
YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok, at any platform and find a lot of good information for your health. But just giving you the information without it teaching you and educating you of how to fit it into your life, your needs, your limitations. I think that that's just creating more anxiety around
Mhm.
the you should do this and here's the things because we all know the things that are good for us to do in our health. And so that's where I think this motivation piece it gets stuck. And
Yeah.
where you end up feeling stuck is okay, I have all the good intentions. I have all the information, but what the heck's wrong with me? I can't do it.
Right. And then what happens is that then you feel guilty, then you feel shameful, or maybe then you just totally fall off the wagon, the proverbial wagon. And
Hmm.
and then it gets you into this what Trace and I have referred to many times is this stop, stuck, start cycle over and over and over again. And so when we are thinking about um, I hate the phrase getting healthier, but let's say moving with less pain, or maybe not changing your eating style to support your energy. Maybe it is about trying to lose weight. Like there are so many like goals that could have meaning to you, and you decide this is what it's going to be. And what often happens is that people they want to get motivated to take action to do that. Now, motivation is not a bad thing. It's
No,
not a bad thing. If there's something that you want like bad enough, like if you are trying to get rid of shoulder pain or you know, you know that you need to eat more protein because of, some health thing that you have decided is meaningful to you, like to get motivated to make choices and prepare and plan and get yourself organized to actually carry out what you want, that's not a bad thing. What happens
right.
is, what happens is that there's a right motivation and there's a wrong motivation. And no one knows the difference between that. And so that's what we kind of want to help unpack, because motivation in and of itself is not a bad thing. But first,
No.
even before we unpack the good motivation, bad motivation, what is motivation? Well, brain science wise, it's a feeling, it's an emotion. So if you talk about not having enough emotion or sorry, not having enough motivation, I can't seem to get it, I can't seem to keep it. Well, it's a feeling for Pete's sakes. And so that makes perfect
Yeah,
scientific sense.
absolutely. And like you said, there's nothing wrong with having motivation. Like there could be a lot of things that are motivating you to make a certain change in your body, in your health. It could be watching a aging loved one in your family go through some serious health challenges. And maybe your motivation is, oh, wow, I don't want to look like that when I'm 80.
Mhm.
Maybe I need to start thinking about making some changes, not because I have to, and not out of fear of I don't want to look like that person, but out of this, like, oh, hang on. This, like, why does this actually matter to me? Because I think there comes a shift where the motivation stops coming from, I just want to look good at the swimsuit and I want to prance around and I want to get a date. And, that's motivating in its time. But there's a different motivation where we start thinking about how do I want to feel? How do I want to age? How do I want to be present with my family? What are these
Mhm.
things? And motivation. I have a client who her motivation is, she's a single woman. She knows she's going to end up, alone, old. And her motivation is, I don't want to have someone get me off the toilet and wipe my butt. That's motivating.
Mhm.
And that's important because she sees, okay, I want to work on practicing my lower body strength to be able to always get up from a squat off the toilet.
Yeah.
That's motivation. I might have derailed. So sorry if I did.
Oh no, there's no derailing in here. There's no derailing. I think what Trace is talking about, that there are, like we were talking about the different kinds of motivation. And um so being motivated and inspired to make a change and take action for different reasons determine whether or not the
Mhm.
motivation actually is valuable. And so there are a couple different um hey guys, I'm really, my brain is just whew. Two different definitions that I found for motivation. And one is rooted in this ambition, and it's a drive to do something. And that kind of motivation has got a really short shelf life, because how ambitious do you stay, or you feel driven
It's
to,
exhausting.
yeah, yeah. I mean, we already
How
don't
ambitious
have,
are you
yeah,
when your alarm goes off at 5 a.m.? How ambitious are you when
yeah.
that's your only oomph to get you out of bed to the gym? I'm not feeling very ambitious when my
Yeah.
alarm goes off. I'll tell you that.
Right. Or there's another kind of motivation that's rooted in reasons for wanting to take action to get some kind of results, right? So
Hmm.
that that motivation is different. That feeling is linked to, if we're going to go brain science, our feelings are attached to a thought with it. The thoughts actually drives your behavior. So when you're feeling motivation about getting out of bed in the morning and moving your body, not only because movement is good, but maybe it helps to stimulate energy, all the different reasons why you've determined movement is good for you. And why is, when you get out of bed, that motivation, you have reason, you're thinking, this is meaningful to me, this helps me get XYZ, I'm committed to this, right? So that's a different kind of getting out of bed in the morning versus I should, I have to, these are my goals, I got to check the box. They're
Hmm.
two different sides of the motivation coin. And too often, the side of the coin that's up facing you is the motivation that comes out of ambition and drive and hustle and you have to and you should. And that emotion, that feeling is not going to stick around long at all.
No, I feel exhausted just you telling me that. And it
Hmm.
makes me want to, like, it already makes me feel like a failure
Yeah.
because we can't keep that level of intensity all the time. And so, what do you do when your day is a scramble, you're exhausted, the kids need this, somebody is sick, and that just push to, but you have to get to the gym today. You have to do this. And it's just not in the cards. It's just not going to happen based off how your day goes. And so if that's your drive, then you end up feeling like a failure because you're like, this always happens. I'm always motivated. And then all these roadblocks, we call them our twists because Best has the bendy, extendy,
Mhm.
shifty, twisty. And these twists come about that halt the progress, the momentum. And so if your only drive is the checkbox, you're going to feel like a failure on those days that the twists come and you can't do exactly what you intended to do instead of extending yourself permission to make it look a little different that day and just shifting the plan of okay, I can't get to the gym, but what can I do? And that is a different kind of motivation that keeps you going because you understand why you're doing what you're doing versus I just have to check the box on the calendar.
Hmm. Or it's something good for you, or you should, or
Hmm.
so and so's did it and found success, and you're like, oh yeah, I should do that. Or you go to your doctor, and your doctor's like, well, you need to lose weight. I mean, duh. And there's a bunch of great decisions you could be making to support your health. But until it
Tons.
becomes a different meaning and has a different level of like, oh crap, this really means something to me. I really want this outcome because
Hmm.
of XYZ. I want to stick around and be an aging grandparent for Pete's sakes that can get down and off the floor with my grandkids without looking like an old lady, a tin woman who needs her oil can with her, or whatever it looks like.
Hmm.
That kind of motivation changes your behavior and it gets you the results you want. The other kind of
Yes.
motivation, just being told you should, and people poking the bear and making comments and whatever else, or you're on socials and like, oh man, they're so motivating. They look so motivating. That's not going to change your behavior long term. It's just
Oh,
not.
no. Because that girl that you see on Instagram, you can't keep up with her lifestyle. You can't keep up with her eating plan. You don't have the same life as her. You don't have the
Yeah.
same nanny as her, chef, whatever she's got. And so it has to come up from you. And so that is the challenge that we have for you right now in
Hmm.
mastering your motivation is sit down and ask yourself what really matters to me in my health and why does it matter? And start listing those reasons of, and we're not just talking, it matters because I need to lose weight. We're talking, what does that bring you? What does
Yeah.
it bring you if you get out of pain? What does it bring you if you lose weight? What does it bring you if you have more energy? All those things, dig a little bit deeper. And so that's your challenge for today is
Hmm.
helping you see a little bit deeper that this motivation, put it on the shelf because it's got the short shelf life
Yep.
and start creating something that's sustainable for the long haul.
Right. Right. Motivation in the short term, but then turns into momentum over time. And
Mhm.
of course, let us know how we can support you. Tracy talked about our best
Yes.
method, bendy, extendy, shifty, twisty. As doctors of physical therapy, we're science geeks. This is how the body's designed to move. So therefore, that's how we evaluate, treat, rehab, all the things, create plans that make sense for a person's body to work with a person's body, not against it. But it's also a mindset. And just like this
Yeah.
motivation part, being able to like bend expectations of the plan that you have and extending yourself permission for a day that it doesn't go exactly, there are the twists, the T of twists, and you're making shifts and being able to extend yourself permission and grace in the moment of the bendy and extendy and the
Hmm.
shifty, twisty of life.
Yeah.
That's powerful. Yeah.
Yes. And that's what
So,
we do. That is, we want you to move, feel, and live your best. through our custom coaching and plan making and group accountability memberships. And so
Hmm.
definitely reach out to us because we want to support you in your best health and your best life.
That's right.
All right.
All right,
That's what we
guys.
got today, guys. Okay. Thanks for
Okay.
joining us, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
All right.